We have two citizen voices on this Newshour debate tonight. First, I have with us tonight Amrita Mohan. She came on the Newshour some time back. Amrita Mohan Agarwal is a victim of VVIP racism. We spoke to you, Amrita, some time back about how your 8-year-old son, despite being differently abled, was denied a golf cart at airports because the facility was used by some VVIP politicians. When you spoke out, Amrita, the whole country came and supported you. How unfortunate today that the politicians have decided to look you back, right, defy the public sentiment in this country and go ahead and give themselves a whole lot of privileges. In fact, I think politicians really ought to think about which path they are on tonight. I hope they change their position on the program. Another citizen voice on the Newshour tonight is Karishma Asudani. She's a student. She's joining us from Hyderabad. Her father is a victim of VVIP racism. She will talk to us about why. What had happened to her father and what she feels about the news story breaking today. So Karishma and Amrita, thank you very much. Representing the BJP, GVL Narasimha Rao, Congress Sushmita Dev, NCP, Rahul Narvekar, Aam Aadmi Party, Preeti Menon, Dr. V. Raghunathan is an academician and author, and Suman Siraman, political commentator from Chennai. Are we ready to debate? My first question goes to the BJP, and after that, it's an open debate. So, the more things change, the more things GVL Narasimha Rao stay the same. What should I say tonight to you? Congratulations on extending yourself yet another series of a number of years as VVIPs in this country. You promised something else before the election. You do something else after the election. Tell me first of all, Mr. Narasimha Rao, I have with me in my hand start questions number 366, protocol arrangements for VVIPs at airports, the written replies of P. Nagarajan. Is it correct? Is it an authentic document that I am holding? And the replies, because I find a few of these replies absolutely shocking, unbelievable, an insult to citizens at large, and a reflection of how elitist your party has become within 10 months of coming into power. Is this actually a true document? Have you actually said this, that we will continue? We have absolutely no plans to curtail any of the privileges and protocols that with respect to VVIP passengers at all? You confirm that this is your position of your government, sir? The so-called the government for the Achhe Din?
Yeah, I think you seem to be tutoring Rahul Gandhi. He's picking up your.
I'm asking you. I'm asking you whether this document is correct.
Yeah. Obviously, that's a document from the parliament. You seem to have downloaded.
Can you tell me why? Can you tell me why you have decided? I have a question to you, and you can please answer.
I will.
My question to you, sir, is: can you please tell all the viewers on the Newshour tonight, Mr. Narasimha Rao, and I hope you will have the patience of listening to my question. Why is it that you have decided to extend every single privilege which people describe as VVIP racism to yourselves under your government?
Can I answer now?
Yes, Mr. Rao. And after that, by the way, open debate.
Yeah, I will only speak. I think I'll be allowed to speak only in the first 2 minutes of the program. So please do not interrupt when I speak for the next 1 to 2 minutes.
There is no quota for VVIPs on the Newshour, sir.
I think the discussion should be based on facts, and I don't want to hear gas like what Rahul Gandhi was speaking in Parliament and at the rally yesterday.
Don't be offensive, Mr. Rao.
Let's go by the document.
Don't be offensive, Mr. Rao.
Let's go by the document.
Yes, I'm going by the document, but don't use words which can be seen to be very offensive, Mr. Rao.
No, please read the first page. What are these privileges being extended to the members of parliament? I think you would be doing a service to the people and not airing gas like Rahul Gandhi. If you can do me a favor by reading only the privileges being given to the members of parliament on the very first page of the answer to the very first question. I think you have the paper with you. I would request you to kindly read.
Yeah.
Or you want me to read, I'll read it.
No, Mr. Rao, I'll tell you one thing. See, we have the option.
Now, what are these great privileges? Please read it. Let there be no misinformation like what the Congress party is trying to do. I think you owe it to your viewers to talk on the basis of facts.
Have you finished?
So my request is, please read.
Have you finished?
Yes, I have finished.
Have you finished or are you continuing? Yeah. Please first clarify that have you finished or are you continuing? Amrita wants to say something to you. Amrita speaking up tonight. Please, Amrita, citizen voice. Go ahead,
finished. Arnab, is there... is there a document? Is there a document for privileges for the differently abled at the airports or anywhere else in this country? Isn't that priority? Please, I mean,
Absolutely,
is that not a first?
It's a priority. I agree.
Do we have that in place anywhere in the Constitution or anywhere at all?
No, Amrita, good question there. I just want to
Form preferential treatments for VVIPs or celebrities. I think kids, senior citizens, people who are differently abled need, they need some draft of what their privileges are going to be. Are they going to be respected on the streets or not? Or are people going to shove them aside?
Amrita,
Just because they are able, just because he's a VVIP.
Ma'am, I think your question is very valid. I can tell you this government is more sensitive to the needs of
Yes,
the
sir, it
disabled,
is.
to the differently abled, my pardon, than any other government.
Sir, I don't
think
see
if
anything
something
happening.
has not been done,
I travel to Goa.
your suggestions are
Sir,
extremely well
listen
taken.
to her, Mr. Rao.
No.
Sir, please go and use the
No, I was
wheelchair-assisted
addressing-
bathrooms in T3 and in 1D and tell me how clean they are, sir. Are they clean up to your standards? Can VVIP use them? I traveled to Goa. I used the bathrooms. They were in a pitiful state. I'm appalled at the state. Can you please use those bathrooms and tell me tomorrow, are they fit for your use or are they fit for any? Are they hygienic at all? And we are talking about dengue and whatever else. How are we going to do this?
You see now I
We are
think
looking at a
Amrita,
vibrant Gujarat, vibrant India. What
Amrita,
are we
I am
talking
glad
about, sir?
I am glad
supported
Mr.
your
Rao
government.
is listening
I supported
tonight.
your government with full.
I'm glad Mr. Rao is listening tonight. Because I know where you're
No,
coming
I
from. I
supported
know
government with full
exactly
power.
where
I
you're
am very
coming from, and
happy
the
I
problem
supported
is
the government.
the problem is, Mr. Amrita ji.
My friends, my peers, everybody supported this government. Okay, we've gone on a world tour. What are we doing about basic things in our country? Where are our basic values? Where are our basic values? We are able-bodied people. We are supposed to. It is dharma hai hamara to help them. It is how can you deny this? What we believe in next life, sir. What is next life going to get to you?
Once Amrita ji, I'm coming back to you. Now, I think you made a point about people being able-bodied. I want to make one point. By the way, tonight, the issue is on one of principle. Are we one as citizens? Are we all equal or are we unequal? I have a very basic question, Sumant. Are we equal or are we unequal? Tonight, no. First of all, with all the conviction at my command, with all the conviction at my command, Sumant, 1 minute.
On our doorstep.
No, one second. Sumant, 1 minute.
We are not equal. There are the rulers and there are the ruled. And I think it's very, very, let's be honest and accept it in this country. There is no question.
Absolutely, sir.
Whatever the constitution may say, that is how it is on the ground. Arnab, I want to make one very quick point. I don't know whether Mr. Narasimha Rao has read the Terminal Management Manual issued by the Airports Authority of India. There are 4 pages, and he would be welcome to go and look it up online, page 42 to 46, where the duties of each and every one of those key airport officials in how they should handle VIPs are defined. Second, the number of categories of VIPs is close to 83, okay? So if the government wanted to show that they were sincere in making an effort to do something, they could have pruned the category. There are all kinds of people. There are some individual members there. There are some people mentioned by names. I mean, I don't know how on earth this list was put up. It is completely arbitrary. There are vice chancellors of universities. There are chairmen of appellate tribunals. All kinds of categories of people are on that
Sumant,
list. And if they wanted to show that they were sincere, they could have pruned this list. Or they could have
Sumant,
cut down some of the benefits.
may I come in for a minute? And I wanted to say something there. Because right on top of the debate, I must place on record tonight. That's all right, Mr. Rao. I can hear you. I can see you. I can see what you've written, but I want to say something to you with the greatest of respect, which you did not show me or to the viewers at the start of the program tonight. You started by saying, don't speak gas. Now, I don't know, Mr. Rao, whether it is because you have now considered yourself to be a ruler, and me to be someone you are ruling over, that you use that kind of language to me. I can respond equally by saying, don't use that argument of hot air against me, but I will not respond to you in insulting language. Because I believe that, Mr. Rao, that when a politician comes on a program, when a relevant question is asked, and when the politician responds by throwing insults at the anchor, he is indirectly insulting all the viewers. In the case of this program tonight, Mr. Rao, I need you to remember the basic crux of the debate. Are we one people? Or are there rulers and are they ruled? And my point is, Sushmita, I see your hand go up. My only point is tonight, when you go to an airport, when I go to an airport, I believe as an able-bodied person, I can carry my suitcase, I can carry my bag, I can walk, I have eyes, I have hands, I have legs, I can see. There are marks and boards which tell me go to gate 37 or gate 32. I follow those instructions and I reach my destination. Now, I don't understand. GVL Narasimha Rao says, please don't throw gas at me tonight. I don't throw gas at these issues, but I'd like to tell you, Mr. Narasimha Rao, as per this government rule, one officer of each airport is designated as a protocol officer at each airport and is totally personally responsible for what? For, by the way, Mr. Raghunathan, the extension of due courtesies and due facilities to the honourable members of parliament. What a waste of government resources. This is not why I pay tax.
His job is to ensure tea.
This is not why we pay taxes. Is this the reason we pay taxes, Mr. Raghunathan?
Snacks for the VIP.
So that they can feel like Maharajas when they go to an airport. Mr. Raghunathan. Mr. Raghunathan.
Yeah, excuse me. There are three different issues here, Arnab. There is the issue of VVIP culture. There is the issue of cost to the public exchequer, and whether or not there is a VVIP culture, whether the government is doing enough for the differently abled, etc. So let me essentially talk about the VVIP culture.
Yeah.
If the government believes that the members of parliament need some special privileges, by all means you give it to them. We will count it separately as privileges, but let them pay for it like every citizen and get it reimbursed on their travel account elsewhere. All corporate executives get their privileges. When we travel, we pick up all our bills for the coffee, tea and the toll gates, and then we go and present it and get it reimbursed. Let the MPs do it all openly and transparently, so that at least we will know what their total cost to the exchequer is. At least don't flaunt the VVIP culture in your face.
I say take it back.
That's what I would like to say at this juncture.
I'd say, Mr. Raghunathan, I'd say tonight, let's start a movement, take it back. Will you support that? Sushmita Dev, we want to snatch away from members of parliament, and I'm being explicit about it tonight. We want to snatch away from members of parliament the privilege they give themselves of feeling like rulers at airports.
Bureaucrats. Arnab, it is not only members of parliament. Bureaucrats outnumber members of parliament and all the politicians several times on a ratio.
Okay.
So please, it's not only politicians, it's bureaucrats.
Sushmita Dev, will you support a move to take it back?
Yes, I will. Please let me say something. I just want to make a small point that there are two aspects of a VIP movement. One is the security aspect, and the other are the privileges like the ones listed in this answer. All I'm saying is, if there are security concerns, let us say it is the Prime Minister of India, then we should not say that he is not allowed to...
Nobody is saying that, ma'am.
He is not allowed to...
Nobody is saying that.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, apart from that, I don't think it is necessary to give a free cold drink and a free coffee or a reserved lounge. I don't think it's necessary. Any of us who's traveling today, there are many airlines in which we can pay 200 rupees extra and jump a queue. You don't have to be a member of parliament for it. So if I want to avail that facility, I can easily avail it by paying.
No, but then why not? No, why not? The most offensive.
Need not fund it.
No, but the most offensive of all these points here is the fact that the government promised something and is doing something else. That's my basic problem. Preeti, feel free to come into this. This government said. And my point is, what accountability does a minister have to face from the government of India when he goes back? On a promise he made to the people, Ashok, Gajapathi, Raju promised when we ran the first part of the anti-VVIP racism campaign, he will trim down VVIP racism. Today, we have a circular to the country. We have a circular. Preeti, you want to come into the debate? The BJP actually is...
the problem that we have.
Yes, Preeti.
Yeah. That's my main problem, that the common people of this country voted for Achhe Din for themselves. They now seem to only be enjoying and seeing Achhe Din for the foreign jaunts and for the MPs who are getting privileges. So the common people are not getting what they've been promised, and that betrayal of BJP is shocking. And their audacity on the program today, where they are claiming that you spoke gas and everybody else made rhetorical speeches, is amazing when they themselves are indulging only in rhetoric and not delivering any of the things that they had promised.
So many things.
Kejriwal is delivering much more in 2 months than you have done in a year. You have not managed to deliver even a basic promise that you made on a national channel. You all made a promise on a national channel that you all will work towards dismissal of VIP privileges. You have to dismiss all VIP privileges. It's not a question of the cost. It's not even a question of whether they can buy it or whether they can get it reimbursed. It's the insult to the common people for whom airfares are not getting any cheaper. Airfares are rising every day.
Who's being a hypocrite tonight?
₹1,000 salary cannot afford to take a ticket and travel.
Who's being hypocritical, GVL Narasimha Rao? Mr. Rao, who's being hypocritical? Rahul Narvekar, who's being hypocritical in this case?
The people who voted for them.
One second, who's being hypocritical?
Well, there isn't a doubt about the fact that...
Can I make you an offer?
Rahul Narvekar. No, Rahul Narvekar wants to say something to you. I don't do deals on the program. One second.
Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, there are times when you have to understand the sentiments of the people at large, and I think time has come when all of us across party line sit and understand the sentiments of the common men.
Should we open up to phone calls tonight?
Please understand.
We will.
And in this country, the constitution provides for equality. I think that's known to every citizen of this country. But yes, we haven't done enough to really follow the letter of the law. There has been two classes of citizens prevailing in this country. The political class, or not political class, the privileged class and the underprivileged class. And the privileged class consists of all those people who enjoy these benefits which the normal citizens don't enjoy. And I think we should restrict these privileges to as minimal as possible. And therefore, I am of the serious view that if you really don't want to hear these comments and these shows being telecasted on national television, we need to sit and we need to rethink on the policies pertaining to privileges granted to these privileged people. And when I say privileged individuals, it's not just politicians, it's bureaucrats, it's army officials, defense officials, it's senior judiciary, it's senior bureaucrats, it's everyone. It's also individuals who don't have anything to do with either of these categories. So I think if you really want democracy to function in the spirit that it is required to, we need to minimalize the difference between these two sections.
Sir, you're going on in a long-winded way about what is a very simple subject. The simple thing we want to hear tonight is take away all privileges. Behave like normal people. So what if you're a neta? So what if you got elected? You are the same species. You belong to the same country. You hopefully hold the same passport, and therefore you will get the same privileges that every Indian does. And I'm saying tonight to you, GVL Narasimha Rao, you need to hear tonight next from Karishma. I want you to hear from Karishma and then look at the issue in a broader context tonight. So there is with us tonight Karishma. I'd like to welcome Karishma. She's a student. Will you not hear from Karishma Asudani?
On your program.
So will you not
say their MPs will forego their privileges? These are not privileges. These are very basic things.
These are not basic things.
All the parties on the program.
This is the problem. This is the problem, Mr. Rao.
Unfortunately,
you wouldn't have said this before the election, Mr. Rao. You wouldn't have.
Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, unfortunately,
you wouldn't have said this before the election.
You are the types of politicians who take this as a right. This is not a right you enjoy. Please understand that. This is a conscientious decision which every privileged individual has to take, whether he needs it, whether he deserves it, whether that's the need of the hour. It's a privilege given to you for a certain reason. So, Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, you coming here and saying that let every party do it, and then I will do it, and then my party men will do it, is absolutely rubbish. It's a conscientious decision that needs to be taken.
Sumant is coming in. Sumant.
Privileges are trivial. Why can't he give them up? What is the problem? If the privileges are so trivial that they don't matter at all, why can't they give them up? Mr. Narasimha Rao's argument is these are no big privileges, no big deal, so give them up. What's the problem?
Yes. No, I'll tell you what is the problem. The moment it is done, you have the same hypocrites on your program he will make a hangama in Parliament, and Parliament will not run for the rest of the session.
Who's the hypocrite?
My appeal to you.
Who are you calling a hypocrite? Sushmita Sen. Sushmita Dev, 1 minute. Sushmita Dev, 1 second, 1 second. Go, GVL Narasimha Rao makes an argument at this point of time.
Supporting VVIP culture in Parliament. Which party will be
Sushmita Dev. Sushmita Dev. Karishma, I'm coming to you. Sushmita Dev. Sushmita Dev, the BJP is saying tonight it is not being able to take back these privileges because of hypocrites indirectly pointing at you, I presume, or your party, unless he's going to be more explicit about it.
Mr. Rao has lost the plot.
Hypocrite.
Let me tell you, if the government today decides to do away with the list of
why can't you offer on your own?
You want to call them?
Why don't you offer on your own? Why can't Congress President Sonia Gandhi write a letter and make all her MPs say that we won't take these privileges? Why can't she withdraw all her privileges?
Sir, it is quite an irony that...
Why can't
Sir, I think I should get to speak on this.
write a letter? Why can't Sharad Pawar write a letter?
All right, Karishma Sudani, watch it.
GVL Narasimha Rao, unfortunately, you and your party MPs are so used to be dictated that they don't use their conscience ever. They don't listen to their conscience ever. This is a decision which every MP, every politician should take.
I want to.
Please don't be a hypocrite.
And why are you so single-minded?
Voluntarily.
No. Looks like the Bharatiya Janata Party
Sir, it is quite an irony that the leaders...
Let Sonia Gandhi write a letter.
They need a diktat for even using their conscience.
For all MPs. Let her withdraw all the facilities for herself, for her son-in-law, for her son. Why can't she write a letter?
I actually find... Gentlemen, 1 minute. Also with us on the show. Also with us on the show tonight, 1 minute, is Karishma Sudani. And by the way, Karishma have a right to speak, so do Amrita. They may not be politicians. Now, 1 second. Karishma, by the way, 1.5 years back.
Yes.
When her father was taking a connecting flight, actually you can tell your own story and tell us how you've been a victim of VVIP racism and how you feel about this tonight. Karishma, it's over to you, please.
Yes, sir, it is quite an irony that our leaders who before independence have fought to bring equality, it is surprising to see that all these leaders that I have just heard and witnessed are actually fighting to bring discrimination to themselves. They want a edge over the common man. A very personal incident that my father had experienced 2 years back was when he was taking a flight from Jaipur to Hyderabad. It was a connecting flight and his first flight got delayed. So according to that, the second flight has to be scheduled according to him and the other passengers. But quite devastating that the second flight had to leave before the takeoff time because there was some bureaucrat and MP present in the aircraft. Sir, that is not a problem until and unless the aircraft is providing us with good amenities and facilities. But what was very surprising and shocking was we had to sacrifice and we had to conjust with the timing of my father. Where we vote our leaders because not only they are hardworking and they put a lot of efforts and they are creative, but also that they are sacrificing. But quite, I would say, opposite that in our country, it is we common men who sacrifice, who compromise rather than our leaders.
Karishma, your point is well understood. I have just been told here today that we have the Minister of State for Home, Mahesh Sharma, I think is his name, who has actually said sometime back to one of our reporters, members of parliament need privileges. What if I have to go to Gorakhpur tomorrow, he says. What if I have to take a plane? The whole response, the whole attitude is simple, Mr. Raghunathan and Sumant. We are more important than others. And by the ways, GVL Narasimha Rao, you talk about hypocrites. Who's the hypocrite? A union minister who's allowed to go back on his word without any condemnation from his party or his government?
Arnab, this is what is very, very disappointing with this government. In fact, one would have expected some respect to the sentiments at least. And even if they didn't go the whole hog, one would have expected some respecting of the sentiments of the people, maybe fine-tuning the VIP list, knocking off a couple of privileges, at least to show that, we do care and we do respect the sentiments of the people. But this is looking, very, very unfortunate. It's looking a lot like UPA 3 minus the scams.
Yeah, can I just play a comment of the Union Minister of State for Home, Mahesh Sharma? Please take a look.
I want to talk as a common person here.
Yes, Amrita, actually go ahead, Amrita.
I just want, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Amrita, go ahead.
I just want to say that, I'm not bothered with whether the Congress pulls out of the privileges or the BJP has to make a draft to say they are not valid. The point is, as a common person, I am getting affected. And I have a lot to live with already, and this is really troubling me. Now, the problem is, when I put BJP into power, my vote was, there was a lot of faith and belief, and a lot of sensible people sort of voted for this government. So if this government doesn't step up, they are definitely not going to get a second chance, that's for sure. That's the only unfortunate bit here in the whole thing. And to me, it doesn't bother how this comes about. The point is, it needs to be done, and that's about it.
Yeah, so, the question is raised tonight about hypocrisy. Mr. GVL Narasimha, I want to ask you a few questions about hypocrisy, please, if you don't mind, with your permission, Mr. Narasimha. On the one hand, Mr. Rao, your Prime Minister asks your members of Parliament to maintain standards in public life because people are watching, he says.
Prime Minister too.
Yeah, our Prime Minister, but I'm sure he's also your Prime Minister. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked members of Parliament.
Don't take the cue from Rahul Gandhi.
Prime Minister, he's Pradhan Seva.
No, what's it? Prime Minister. No, don't go on to semantics. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, GVL Narasimha, don't go into semantics. Can we go to the issue? Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked members of Parliament to maintain standards in public life. Why? Because people are watching. Good argument. Then tell me, how come his own civil aviation minister takes no guilt in extending innumerable freebies to MPs? Including breaking security rules himself, including, by the way, breaking security rules, saying, I'll carry matchboxes into planes. I'm a minister. This is not VVIP culture. How come the Prime Minister says maintain standards in public life because people are watching, but behind the scenes, your own civil aviation minister breaks the rules? Question one. And we are going to open up the phone lines.
I think I think I was requesting you to read from this. I think you were refusing to.
I have just read parts of it, Mr. Rao. You want me to read more? You want me to read more?
I think these are hardly any privileges.
Hardly any privileges.
I think possibly MPs possibly like themselves
so what do you want?
Called VVIPs.
Mr. Rao, by your argument, by your argument, one second, by your argument, I'm getting increasingly concerned as I listen to you, Mr. Rao. I'm getting increasingly worried as I listen to you, Mr. Rao, because you're saying that when one protocol officer, one person, government officer, turns into a protocol officer, instead of doing, one second, allow me to complete.
For MPs.
Allow me to complete.
Not just for MPs.
Yes, but for MPs also.
Not just for MPs.
For MPs. One officer of airport is designated.
No.
1 second, listen to me.
Not just for MPs.
But for MPs or no? Is it for MPs as well or no? Please answer me. Now you want to read?
As well, yes.
No, where is it written as well?
But then he does.
So 1 second. So listen to me, Mr. Rao. Why are you? Why aren't you?
Facilities.
Well, Mr. Rao, I am on a fundamental issue here. My issue is simple. There's a question asked.
How many people are employed in Delhi airport, for instance?
Mr. Rao, question number D.
How many people are employed?
Mr. Rao, a question is asked. We had.
How many people are employed?
No, 1 second. Mr. Rao, are you saying tonight? And by the way, are we opening the phone call?
Please read the manual.
Can we please put the phone numbers on air tonight?
The manual.
Can we put the phone numbers on air tonight so Mr. Rao can get a sense of how the people of this country feel? A question is asked.
I know, because there is disinformation.
A question is asked.
Media.
Mr. Rao, stop attacking the media for everything nowadays.
Involved in disinformation.
Nowadays, everything you attack the media all the time. Did the media put this piece of paper out? Has this been written by the media?
Can you please put it on your screen?
Yes, on the screen. Okay, fine. Come on,
Can you put the reply from the minister on screen?
So I'll put it out. Come on, let's get the camera closer to it.
Please put this on
1 second, please, on there, please, Mr. Rao. Mr. Rao, relax. I'm going to put it up on air. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the whole answer is there in question number D, and the answer here. Now look how perturbed Mr. Rao is looking. Question number D.
No.
Listen, Mr. Rao, will you let me read out?
I'm
It's in
hardly
English.
perturbed.
It's in English. I can read it out, please.
Please read.
Here's a question. Whether there is any proposal to curtail privileges and protocols with respect to VIP passengers at various airports. If so, the details and the present status thereof. Is a question. I turn the page.
Yeah.
I turn the page and the answer is very simple. Ladies and gentlemen, now Mr. Rao will have to explain. You know what the answer to that is? What is this? What am I pointing out? What is the answer? What is the answer?
I think you don't have to be dramatic.
No, I'm not being dramatic. I'm reading out because in case you can't see, no, I'm explaining to the viewers because you wanted me to hold it up. The answer is no, madam. 2 words, no, madam.
Can you go up can you go up on the page?
I can go up or down as you want, Mr. Rao. But the fact is that people had expectations, right? The people thought that this government would not be a VVIP government. Now I want to ask you, Mr. Rao. Look at the inconsistencies. And by the way, phone calls are being opened up tonight. On the one hand, a member of parliament, Mr. Raghunathan is also wanting to come in. You know, Mr. Rao, I'll tell you one thing. If you make mistakes, the media is not responsible. If I put the facts out, you say misinformation.
Not giving the right information.
No, 1 second. Do I have to take everything I say on the channel through the official censors of India?
You cannot do it like Rahul Gandhi does.
Mr. Rao,
can give party information.
Mr. Rao, if this is Mr. Rao. Okay, Mr. Rao, I'd love to believe that this is my nightmare.
Why is Mr. Rao, 1 minute, Arnab, why is Mr. Rao going on about the reply and what is there in it? There is a manual which details this in complete the description of each and every person's responsibility at the airport for a VIP. Is Mr. Rao saying that manual of Airports Authority of India is incorrect?
I say take it back.
Not followed?
I'm saying take it back.
You think the parliament, this is a reply to a start question in parliament. Ministers do not give
but there is a detailed
non-factual
manual
information.
Which the AAI has
what
issued.
is given here is
it
the
is
factual
not,
position.
I mean, they have
Arnab, you are
detailed
not
every
showing the
single
real information.
responsibility.
It's not fair.
You see, the problem is Mr. Rao.
It's not fair.
Mr. Rao, don't protest.
You're not showing the right information, Rahul.
Mr. Rao, you know, I'll tell you one thing.
Arnab.
No, watch. I'm coming to you. I'm just coming to you, Preeti, for a minute. But I want to say one thing to Mr. Rao. Mr. Rao, sometimes, I know that you are now a member of the ruling party. But understand this. A member of parliament is treated to what I consider luxurious facilities. Now, you may have a Marie Antoinette approach.
No, kindly show it, na. What is that luxury? Let people know.
The luxury is that you have a government officer trotting behind you to help you.
I want you to expose.
The government officer is not your slave.
You're not to expose. You're only making statements without revealing facts. I'm asking you,
Mr. Rao, what are you saying?
Expose what is there on the top of that page. Why are you showing only bottom of the page?
Why don't you mention
if you go to the top of the page,
what top of the page? Okay, so Mr. Rao, I'll read out everything. I think okay. So Mr. Rao actually wants me to reveal everything. No, so Mr. Rao actually wants me to reveal everything. Mr. Raghunathan, I'm coming to you. Sushmita, I'm coming to you. Mr. Rao, very simple. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. These are not. By the way, what I'm going to read out are basic necessities of life for Mr. Rao. These are not luxuries, ladies and gentlemen. 1.
These are luxuries according to you. Please read.
Yeah, for me there are luxuries, Mr. Rao. And if they have become necessities for you, I'm very worried for you. Now the question is, A.
Not for us.
1. Reserved lounge facilities at international airports. B. Reserved lounge facilities at domestic airports. C. Tea, coffee, all free of charge. 4. Member of Parliament acts as chairman of the Airport Authority Committee in respect of the airport under his constituency. 5. Free access to the terminal building. 6. Free access to the visitors gallery. 7. Airport entry pass to the personal staff of the MP. 1 airport entry pass for the personal staff of the MP in New Delhi. Another airport entry pass for the personal staff. Mr. Raghunathan, I'm not making this up. It's actually happening. Another one for the airports nearest to his or her constituency. Then 1 officer of the airport to be specially designated as protocol officer so that people behave, and show due courtesies, not at one, at each airport. A protocol officer responsible specifically for facilities, and a protocol officer also responsible for courtesies for members of parliament.
There
want
is
me to
only
read
one.
more?
You can't make up. There is only one.
You want me to read more?
The entire airport.
You want me to read
one
more?
protocol officer.
You want me to read more?
For all the people.
No, is this fact or fiction?
No, let's go.
No, is this fact or fiction? What I read out right now. Mr. No, 1 second, Mr. Rao, now tell me.
Yeah.
Because you held up a piece of paper right now sometime back, didn't he? Mr. Raghunathan, he held up a piece of paper saying fact or fiction. Am I right in asking tonight, Mr. Raghunathan, from Mr. Rao, whether what I read right now was fact or fiction? Was it fact or fiction? I wish it was fiction, but unfortunately it's fact. Mr. Raghunathan?
No, with great difficulty.
Mr. Raghunathan, Mr. Raghunathan.
I'm glad you
now
did
he
this.
says,
Arnab, the duplicity.
here it is.
The duplicity of the politicians is clear from the fact that the Prime Minister has actually made an appeal to the general public, those who can afford not to take the LPG subsidies, to bypass the subsidy and pay full price for the LPG. And yet on the other hand, they are bent upon giving further kinds of, you may call it subsidies to their own members of parliament, and not even giving further subsidies to the members of parliament, whether it is at the toll gate or elsewhere. They are also doing it in the face, perpetuating the feudal, the colonial system of VVIP culture, and that is a matter of strong concern. How is it that the LPG subsidy is bad, but the MP subsidy is good?
Preeti and Amrita Mohan also wanted to come back into the debate. And by the way, I want to read more. May I read more?
Arnab, can I just say one thing?
Yes, Sushmita.
Can I just say one thing as a member of parliament?
Yes, take it back.
As a member of parliament, I would like to say that we have seen in the US and in the UK member of parliament, senators going on the tube, going on the metro, rubbing shoulders with everybody else like anybody else. And if this government were to do it, I don't think we'll be deprived of any big thing. So maybe the government should review it. Apart from the security aspect, this has been a huge issue in the media. And if it is causing inconvenience to the people,
yes, it is.
If it's costing the exchequer money,
oh yes, it is. It's not free.
There's no harm in removing it if the government wants to do it.
Take it back, Mr. Rao.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea for members of parliament to themselves excuse from this recuse. I would like to request the lady on the program to announce that she would not use any of these facilities.
What is this passing
Let
the
a
buck
movement
going on?
build up.
Why pass the buck, Mr. Rao?
I'm all for it. Let the Congress member say, let her give in writing, she will not use these facilities.
I thought, Mr. Rao, that you used to say that you have over 300 members of parliament. May I ask you, Mr. Rao, why a party with over 300 members of parliament needs the consent of a party with 44 members of parliament to bring in that legislation?
Let a beginning, if Sonia Gandhi can march, can go on a protest march from her residence to President's house. Can they not take this initiative?
I don't agree with that. Amrita Mohan Agarwal is rebutting the BJP tonight. Amrita.
Do you need the consensus or approval of all 500?
Amrita Mohan Agarwal wants to say something to you.
I think it's a hypocrisy.
You passed the law.
I don't want them to be hypocrites. I want them to take action.
Mr. Rao, are you saying tonight, Mr. Rao, that anybody who disagrees with you is a hypocrite? Anyone who disagrees with you is a hypocrite? Anyone who questions VVIP racism is a hypocrite.
Mr. Rao, you were the party. Yours was the party which actually made the poll promise. Yours is the party that made the poll promise. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? If there's anyone hypocritic on this program, it's you and your party. It was Mr. Narendra Modi's. It was Mr. Narendra Modi's promise in all the rallies that he made, all the political speeches that he made. He said, "I will bring equality in this country. I am a Pradhan Sevak. My MPs will work as Sevaks." But today your MPs and your ministers don't want to be Sevaks. They want to be rulers.
Simple question.
Can you tell Praful Patel? Can you tell Sharad Pawar?
Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, let me tell you one thing very candidly. The MPs of our party don't need a diktat to take a conscientious decision. Unlike the Bharatiya Janata Party, where an MP cannot even take a conscientious decision without accepting the diktat of Mr. Narendra Modi. And that's the fact.
Come on, don't come and give lectures here. Let Mr. Sharad Pawar and Praful
I'd like to get Mr.
Ours is a democratic.
We have a few callers, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot.
In your party that you are not allowed to listen to your conscience. You have to go by the diktat of Mr. Narendra Modi. And I am surprised that how come Mr. Modi, who talks of being a seva, a pradhan seva, decides to become a ruler along with his 283 MPs.
My question tonight is very simple. You see, tonight the question is of hypocrisy. 10 times in the course of the debate, the BJP representative has accused everyone else of being a hypocrite. Now, Mr. Rao, you are entitled to your opinion.
All political representatives.
Mr. Rao.
Not to the civil society.
That's all right, Mr. Rao. If the media, Mr. Rao, can I say something to you?
I call them hypocrites.
Mr. Rao, you know something. You know, Mr. Rao, can I say something to you? Can I say something to you in a lighter vein? Nowadays, Mr. Rao, if a politician abuses even a journalist, it's okay. We are used to it. It's water off a duck's back.
No, I'm not accusing you.
It's become because it's par for the course, Mr. Rao.
Guests on the panel.
No, but I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying you did. But even if you would have, I said in a lighter vein, Mr.Ao. I said in a lighter vein, Mr. Ao.
I am only
Mr. Ao. Mr. Ao, have you lost your sense of humor? I'm saying tonight that even if you did, it would not matter because abuse from a politician is water off a duck's back for a journalist. My question tonight is this. Look at who's... No, 1 second. A member of parliament is treated to luxurious facilities, which Mr. Rao says are necessities, while on the other hand, an elderly couple, one of whom is differently abled, are denied access to a VIP lounge at Udaipur airport because they are told, no, it only is for biggies like our politicians. Because politicians can enjoy luxuries, it doesn't matter if an elderly couple, and this incident happened at Maharana Pratap Airport, where an elderly couple reached an airport a few hours before their scheduled departure. They said, can we just sit there in that lounge which is not being used? And they said, no, you can't sit there in that lounge. And they said, we are an elderly couple, we want to use that lounge. They said, no, you can't, because that is only for VIPs. This is despite the fact that the lady in this case was differently abled. I call that insensitivity. And I just want politicians to get a little more sensitive tonight. Subhash Bundela is our first caller. We are besieged by calls on the Newshour tonight. From Nashik, Subhash Bundela is calling. He's a businessman. Who's your question to? Subhash Bundela, good evening.
Arnav, good evening, Arnav.
Sorry to keep you waiting for a long time. Yes.
No, it's okay. I can wait forever for this issue.
Thank you.
Arnav, I have the question for Mr. GBL Narasimha Rao. Okay, Mr. Rao, Mr. Modi recently was in Bangalore, okay, where he made absolute, emotional appeal to the people of Bangalore to give up their LPG subsidies. Okay, I have a question. My question is in two parts. So, did he first appeal in that emotional way to his member of parliament to give up their LPG subsidies, who can afford it very well? If not, why did he not come publicly and put a same appeal to the parliamentarians that please don't ask for these VVIP facilities at the airport because there are a lot of poor people suffering? Would Mr. Narendra Modi's mother be standing in our same common man's queue, or would she be walking through that VVIP lane? I want to know from you today, because my mother, she's old, sick, and she has to walk through the common man's gate, all that suffocation. I want to ask you, Mr. Rao, do you have an answer for this?
Okay, Mr. Bundela, your question is taken. I think Mr. Rao should reply. Yeah,
Can I?
Yeah.
Subhashji, I think thank you for the question. Prime Minister and my party president have asked all the MPs and MLAs and also all party office bearers to withdraw their LPG subsidy that they have been drawing, whoever has been getting. So all of us, to the best of my knowledge, I have myself signed the form. I have withdrawn my subsidy.
But what about the airport luxuries?
If all of them have done it.
What about the airport luxuries?
Not done it. Okay, now coming to the second question, I think the concerns expressed on this program that senior citizens and physically differently able need these special facilities. I totally endorse this, and I will certainly take this up to the best of my possibility directly with the Minister for Civil Aviation. I will do that at the earliest. I think as a society, we need to be more sensitized, and I can say our government, Prime Minister Shri Modi, is extremely concerned in many areas this has been done.
Sir,
if this has not been done at the airports, I think I will take the personal lead of whatever I can do.
No, so as a BJP spokesperson, no, I want to bring this to conclusion. Daulat Adnani is a businessman from Mumbai. He's also calling tonight. My question is very simple. On the one hand, taxpayers' money goes into keep funding the upkeep of VVIP MPs who want to travel around with the security and protocol officers around them. On the other hand, GVL Narasimha Rao, people from 3 villages have to struggle for hours to reach home because the same VVIP culture has crept into the surroundings because a road that led to the houses of Punjab and Haryana Chief Minister that were closed during militancy still remain closed. You have VVIP roads in this country. You have VVIP treatment at airports in this country, Mr. Rao. You have VVIP treatment at railway stations. You have VVIP treatment for at every security booth and toll naka in this country. We want to break it, Mr. Rao.
VVIP Raj, this VVIP Raj must end.
Why aren't you ending it? What is stopping you?
The media has sensitized. But then what is being done at the airports? It's not a privilege.
It is certainly a privilege. I have seen people the way they behave at airports. Mr. Rao, when a politician walks in with 2 government officers behind him, I want to ask you. You ask yourself that government officer who has got into government job, given an examination, has not become a government officer to be a personal valet of a member of parliament. We pay for our taxes not for government officers to be treated like servants and personal valets of members of parliament. Do we, Preeti? Do we? It's an insult.
No, absolutely.
Both to the citizen and those who are subject to it.
I would like to talk to Mr. Rao. Overwhelming majority is not able to take the simple decision which they promised to the people. Mr. Rao here is talking about Sonia Gandhi. They have an overwhelming majority. They should just make it the law. Give up these privileges which have been insulting the common man of this country forever and ever.
It has what society has to bring in. What kind of change minor society?
That's one issue. The second issue is the insult to all the common people standing in the queues.
He'll throw you out of your party.
This has to end.
Okay, Daulat Adnani from Mumbai.
Your leader, Kejriwal, will not tolerate if you make
all
an advice to him.
All you can do is make personal swipes. You don't have any credible answer to the fact that you are there with an overwhelming majority and you are not willing to pass a simple law to remove a few privileges which would make the common people feel so much better and would appreciate your government so much more. You're sticking on to a silly old Zamindar kind of attitude which is harming our country and which is not going to be tolerated. It's going to come back on your face. Kejriwal has already done it. The Delhi government has already done it. This is going to land on your face. Even after the humiliating defeat in Delhi, you all have not given up your brazenness. It has to change. Like one of the panelists just already said.
Arnab, I think you have to be balanced.
Mr. Rao, Mr. Rao,
Arnab, please tell her.
You promised, you deliver. Don't talk about what we did.
Mr. Rao,
tell her what Kejriwal has done.
Mr. Rao, what
Let this be no BJP
but Mr. Rao, this was not written by Kejriwal.
Mr. Rao, your arguments are pathetic.
This was not written by Kejriwal.
I can only feel sorry for you.
Arvind Kejriwal not doing this.
Secondly, let me ask you.
Arvind Kejriwal is setting up an example for VVIP Raj.
What action was taken against?
Why can't he withdraw his
Okay, Mr. Rao, one couple of minutes. Daulat Adnani, who's from Mumbai, is a businessman. I want you to consider, Mr. Rao, one thing. In any other country, the Union Civil Aviation Minister would have said, I'll break all security rules, I'll carry matchboxes into the plane. What can you do? In other words, he's saying, I can carry the matchbox. In other words, tomorrow he'll say, I can light the match. Or maybe he's saying that the 300 people who are on the flight with him should be grateful for him that he didn't light the match. In other words, the Union Civil Aviation Minister is saying, if I want, I can start a fire inside a plane. It's my free will. I am a minister. I am allowed to do that.
That's stretching it.
It's not stretching it. It's not. This is exactly what he said. What action did you take against him?
No, he talked about, you see, many airports in the world.
So why?
Why
is he not patted down?
From carrying light.
I'm talking about the rules. Can anyone on the program tonight? Sushmita Dev, what's going on? Sushmita Dev.
That
I'm sorry.
He's not checked at the security.
He's saying I'm not checked at the security. I've carried matchboxes.
It's not
So
about what the international airports allow or don't allow.
I think the lady on the program, the Congress MP, I hope she knows what the rules are. You have been in power for 10 years. You framed all these rules, goddammit. We have not
Change
framed
it.
these rules.
Yeah, but you came
all
into
cabinet
government.
ministers.
You came into government promising to change the
What
rules.
are you going to do about it?
Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, you have taken a U-turn on every pre-poll promise you've made. You came to power promising to change the rules. It is your moral obligation.
You're in power.
It is your moral obligation.
Not for me to
You
answer.
can't point fingers at other leaders and justify your stand. Leave Mr. Pawar alone. He knows
Daulat
what to do.
Adnani
If
from
you travel-
Mumbai.
If you've had the fortune of traveling with him, you wouldn't have made such a statement. He is one of the most modest politicians.
Daulat
we've
Adnani
seen.
from Mumbai is a businessman. He's calling in tonight. Daulat ji, good evening.
Please tell him to write.
Daulat Adnani, good evening. Can I hear the viewer, please? Yes, please.
Arnab, on a lighter note, there's nothing good about the evening, the way it is going.
Yes. Mr. Adnani.
My question is to Mr. Narasimha Rao.
Mr. Rao, here's a question. Won't you listen to the viewer? Viewer has a question for you.
Yeah, the question to Mr. Narasimha. First of all, let me state at the outset, I am a BJP follower and BJP has just lost my family's votes. Mr. Modi says that he's a Jan Sevak. We are Janta, he's Sevak. This is the first time I've ever heard that the servants are ruling over the masters. And it is amazing that Mr. Narasimha Rao, with a smirk on his face, tries to keep on defending, not that any other party is good. All of them are the same. I've been traveling for more than 35 years and facing, and Mr. Rahul Narvekar included, the Congress spokesman included, all of them are from the same, they are just bad. Arnab, I think the only way to get out of this is change the meaning of VVIP. Let's call a very, very idiotic politician.
Okay, let's not. We won't want to make it very personal on this, Mr. Rao. No, let's not. Daulatji, let's not be personal. The issue is well understood.
Abuse.
No, but if you were to say, Mr. Adnani, that let's do away with the term VIP and VVIP itself.
I don't know what Mr. Adnani is talking about. I don't remember of ever traveling with him.
No,
so I don't know what
let's not. My point is, no, but he reflects the frustration of people tonight. Mr. Adnani reflects the frustration of people tonight. Yes, please.
Arnab, just one point. Everybody watching this program will know for sure one thing, that if the government wanted to do away with these privileges, they can do it tomorrow. It is not going to provoke a constitutional crisis.
Mr. Rao, why don't you do
it?
Mr. Rao, here's let it put.
The opposition. No party will dare come up after the government has withdrawn the privileges.
I think, Mr. Rao, I just want to make one point. You please understand. I'll just give you one more example. On the one side, Mr. Rao, because everyone, you asked tonight the question of hypocrisy. I'm telling you, Mr. Rao, what a country we are in. On the one side, a member of parliament enjoys free access inside a terminal building and visitors gallery, etc., on the basis of some political identity card. On the other side, an 8-year-old boy dies in Kanpur because he's not allowed the shortest passage to the hospital, because the then Prime Minister's security arrangements came on that route. I'm saying tonight, Mr. Rao, as a symbol, give it up. We begin a movement in this country, give it up. And I want to see, Mr. Rao, which member of parliament from which party, independent or affiliated, will oppose you. Will anyone oppose them, Mr. Raghunathan?
Exactly.
Mr. Raghunathan, will anyone oppose anyone? Mr. Raghunathan, will there be any opposition?
Mr. Goswami, the way I look at it is, it is pathetic that one political party is accusing another political party, given that no political party has a case even to defend. The fact of the matter is, VVIP culture is perpetuated by the politicians, for the politicians, and in favor of the politicians, and to expect that they would undo it is actually a very, very unrealistic expectation. In fact, we should have been using a lot more time for the common men to express their opinion, because here the politicians have been holding sway as if they are made of the best material, and it's some other party which was all doing the wrong, and so on. The truth of the matter is, The truth of the matter is, it is the politicians who are perpetuating it, and they have no fig leaf to hide that fact.
Today I'm saying to you tonight, remember, Mr. Rao, I'll give you one last example. Taxpayer money, our money, funds the multi-car convoys of our chief ministers. And in Haryana, a man in his 30s killed by one of the vehicles in the Chief Minister, BJP Chief Minister Khattar's convoy. The only comfort given to the family is the Chief Minister announcing compensation after palming it off to the driver. We have expectations, Mr. Rao. In this case, make the change. Take it back. And Mr. Rao, if you don't take it back, then there will be a campaign to force... There will be a campaign to force you to take it back. There will be a public campaign to force you to take it back. There will be a public campaign. There will be a public campaign to force you to take back the VVIP culture, sir.
There was a discussion, Arnab. There was a discussion to either withdraw some of these courtesies or to make them on a chargeable basis, as the professor on the panel had suggested. This was discussed before before this third question was answered in Parliament. But then the response was that the entire Parliament will be held to ransom if you made any of these charges payable.
Sir, this
and now the question before the government...
I want to know who. I want to know who wanted to hold the Parliament to ransom. I want to know who did it. Who said they'll hold the Parliament to ransom?
Can we let the Parliament session be hijacked? The opposition is only looking for excuses. You hold the Parliament.
You have the courage to bring in ordinances with regards to the land reform bills, Land Acquisition Act, but you do not have the courage to bring in ordinances with regards to this.
That's the reason I'm asking you.
Just a second.
Why don't you volunteer?
Sushmita is responding.
Why don't you volunteer if you really believe what you are saying? Please volunteer it.
More than 4 times.
Let Sushmita.
I have told you.
Let Sushmita respond.
We don't need a diktat from our leadership.
Let Sushmita respond.
You are the biggest
decision.
Who said Parliament will be stalled?
Let Sushmita respond.
Who said Parliament will be stalled?
Please ask the political representatives on the panel, Arnab, whether they will withdraw these facilities. Whether they will...
Okay, here's the point. Here's the point. Mr. Rao,
yes, please withdraw it.
If the Congress says withdraw it, NCP says withdraw it, I say withdraw it, Aam Aadmi Party says withdraw it.
Please write a letter.
Then take it back.
Please, your leader.
Withdraw it.
I'd say take it back.
Mr. Narasimha Rao, you can get an ordinance for the Land Acquisition Act. Why can't you bring an ordinance?
Let these parties write a letter. I assure you it will happen.
They don't even need to...
I say, Mr. Rao, where do you stand tonight? My last question to you is, if the majority of political parties agree to withdraw it, will you agree to withdraw it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so here's a government that wants to be led.
Challenge to other
Okay, so here's a government which surprisingly, on this issue, unlike in the land bill, wants to be led by the opposition. I think that proves my case. We'll follow the story. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 2 on the Newshour tonight, Mr. Rao. We'll follow it up.